that looks good. Okay. You're ready.
Hello, beautiful people of That Beautiful Life podcast. This is Roger Bergström talking to you all the way from Stockholm, Sweden. And it's episode 159 of this beautiful podcast. And as always, it's even more beautiful because we have beautiful people close also. Well, over the pond in the beautiful Reading when it comes to the UK. My dear friend, Mr. Kudus Campbell, how are you doing this morning?
I'm good, bro. I'm good.
Yeah.
I've been awake all night.
Yeah, you just
doing
told
awake
me, and I
people
was
things.
like, Now, tell me about it if you want to, or do you want to save it for...
Definitely. It's perfectly fine. I can explain myself. So essentially last night...
Explain yourself.
I can explain myself, like when your parents pull you up and they're like, so why did you... didn't you do your homework? And you're like, I can explain yourself, young man.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those moments.
It's one of those moments. So essentially what happened is that I basically had, last night I was basically up playing eFootball just for fun.
Oh.
Right. And I didn't play for long. I think I played up maybe, I said that despite the fact that I finished playing maybe around 1-2 a.m. But
okay.
I didn't play for long considering how I usually play eFootball because I didn't start early. I started like pretty late. I think I started playing maybe after 10 or something like that, I think. So I started pretty late and I ended pretty early considering how I usually play. And when I was finished playing I decided, I didn't decide, but I thought to myself, I need to get footage for the podcast because I run gameplay footage in the background while we're talking.
Yeah.
And sometimes I reuse the same gameplay footage because I haven't captured anything new or whatever have you. But this time I was like, I need to get new footage. Like people are probably going to get fed up of seeing the same gameplay for too long. Ooh. And so I decided I'm going to capture footage for a game that I purchased, which was NBA 2K23, which I'll talk about a bit later on the podcast. But essentially, I put the game in the PlayStation 5. I bought it for the PS5, put it in the PS5. And with the intent that, okay, I'm just going to boot it up, launch OBS, and capture footage. Guess what happened?
It didn't work, or?
What do you think? When you buy a new game nowadays, and it's on a disc, and you put it in your system, and you get it ready to start, what happens to it?
Updates.
Bloody stinking updates. That's exactly what happens.
I knew already.
It's amazing how you got it instantly. Like, you didn't even have to think about it. It was just like, yeah, updates. Yeah, that's exactly what happens. It's disgusting. Why are we buying physical games if we have to update them? That makes absolutely no sense. Like,
no.
It is the most like, I might as well, because when I buy a digital game, at least it downloads the whole damn game onto my system. And when I hit start, it starts the game. Physical game, the first thing I did was actually I put the game disc wrong inside the PS5 because I don't actually own physical games. So I put it in the wrong way and I had to take it out, flip it around, put it in the right way, which I'm pretty sure the next time I put a disc in the PS5, I'm going to forget which way it goes anyway. And then when I put the disc in, I basically had to, it started saying like it needs to copy the files. That's what it said. So I was like, oh, okay, copying files.
Yeah.
It's taken a while to copy the files, which I'm like, isn't the whole thing about a PS5 that it's got fast storage and fast everything? It should be quick.
Yeah.
So it takes a decent time to do that. So within the time it's copying, I do a couple of things. I get a couple of things done, and then I come back. And I think I took a shower or something. I came back and it was finished. And then when it was finished, I said, you know what? I'm gonna boot it up and start playing. So I hit start. And when I started up, it's telling me, oh, you've got 111 minutes to wait to download updates.
Oh my
Or you
God,
can
no.
skip the update and start playing now. So I was like, you know what? Let me skip the update and start playing now. I just want to capture footage. It's not like I care for all the online modes and all that kind of shit. I just need to get footage of the gameplay so I can chuck into the thing. It says to me, and I quote, no, God damn it, you're not going to play this stupid game right now because all we've copied from the disc is just practice mode. right? That's all that's on the frack in this. And I'm like, oh, really? You're going to be that
What?
disrespectful to me? I just paid for you. I'm like, no, we don't give a shit. You're going to have to just like deal with this. And that's exactly what happened. So NBA
Wow.
2K23 was disrespectful to me. And then I had to wait for it to bloody well download the update before I could even start the damn game. And this makes me hate modern gaming because literally you buy new games and there's nothing on the disc. What's the point of buying a physical anyway? You always hear people talk about, oh, if you buy physical, then if ever the savers go down and stuff like that, you have the physical disc, you own the game. You don't own shit. It's just, you have like a demo on there or something. It's not none there. You know?
Exactly. It's more like a digital key, just, showing that, okay, you have paid for the game, you own it, but you have to download it anyway.
Yep.
More or less, it feels like that. It's kind of weird. I totally understand, especially also, I mean, it's not like during the day or anything. You just wanted to get it done, and you had to wait for like hours just to make it happen. Oh my God, that's yeah, I understand. I hear you. It's what a thing. Oh my God.
It is. It was irritating. It was quite irritating. So
I'm looking forward to hear later on when we're talking here about the actual game, if it then was worth the wait to start with, things like that. So
I've got a few things to say about it. The other reason why I was awake as well wasn't just for that. After I finished it, I actually watched the new episode of The Last of Us.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Nice.
I caught up today to the new episode last night because Alex can't watch the new episode because she is she's basically trying to catch up on work and stuff like that. You know, it's a busy time and stuff like that. So she does not have the time to watch new episodes. So I'm watching alone at the moment, which is fine. You know, it's such as life.
Sure.
You know,
it can be like that. We had a similar moment. Wait, what day is it? We're recording on a Wednesday, doing this live also. Yeah, on Monday evening, me and Annalie watched the 4th episode since Isaac was busy, so he watched it in the morning the day after. So yeah, we're getting to that soon as well. But before we talk about the telling and gaming and everything, I'm also curious. I mean, this night apparently was. I guess you need to catch some rest and sleep after. You know.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna catch up on sleep while while everyone so basically the boys are gonna be at school, Alex is gonna be busy working, so I'm gonna catch a nap somewhere in the middle of the day, unless of course if I have something to do, then I'll probably get up and do it, or I'll probably try to do everything I can before I take a nap, like, you know, anything else I need to, you know, finish off and stuff like that. I'm gonna try to like you know, complete, and then once all that's done, then I'll probably say, okay, you know what, I'm gonna actually go take a nap and you know, get up. If it's like maybe at lunchtime or something like that, that should be fine, and I'll just catch an early night tonight when I go to bed, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. That sounds like a good plan. But besides that, besides this stay up night, how has the week been for you?
It's been so it's been fine for the most part. You know, my younger brother was on vacation in Cuba for a bit, so he was gone.
Okay.
Then he got back. He was supposed to come over this past weekend. He didn't get to come over on the weekend. I haven't even spoken to him, except for when he just came back and we spoke on the phone while he was in the airport, and we haven't spoken since. What else? It's just been like a regular old weekend. I mean, the weekend gone, I did the whole weekend run, you know, like I do drop-offs for Ty's extracurricular classes and stuff that he does on the weekend and stuff like that. So I did that on the weekend. And then when what do you call it? When I was finished with that, I actually went cycling the morning before that. So I went so I went cycling at 3 a.m. on Saturday morning. And so I basically burned myself. I went up some you know, decent inclines and got some, at least I think I got an hour and a half on the bike while I was out.
Oh wow. Good.
Yeah. So I did some good riding on Saturday, and then after that I had to, when I came back home, we had to drop off some clothes at the laundry. So I did some more cycling because the laundry is not too far from where we live, but
Oh.
it's Alex had done a lot of laundry, and so we had to carry all these bags. And she was gonna get a taxi to carry it. And I was like, nah, why waste the money? Hop on the bike. I chuck one on one handlebar, one on the other handlebar, and chuck one in my basket behind, and I'm gone. All right. And so I did that. And then when I was finished with that, I basically did all the drop-offs with Ty. And when I came back, I crashed. Like I crashed on Saturday. But what happened on Sunday, I got a fever. So I was sick on Sunday. I basically spent all of Sunday in bed up until basically I passed out Saturday night, and then I could feel like myself coming down with something, you know, when you could feel like your throat scratching, you know, that kind of stuff. So I could feel that. And then Sunday I spent it in bed, and the boys were, you know, like basically the whole family left. They went out, they had stuff they had to do and everything like that. I just told them like, just leave me. I just need to rest, which is something that they understand about me. It's like whenever I get sick, like just leave me alone. Yeah. You know? So, because for me, that's how I recover. I need rest. You know, I'm not the kind of person that cares too much about all that other stuff. I just need to rest. Once I rest, I'll recover and I'll be back again like normal. Yeah. So I did that, got my rest, recovered fully. And by Monday, I was good again. I was operational.
Yeah, look at that.
So
yeah, it sounds as it became a bit too much apparently of the good as well. I mean, not that you're not used to bike, but I mean you haven't been doing that kind of tough exercise either for some time, I guess. Like 1.5 hours on a bike and going up and downhill and all that stuff that can actually. And of course, probably you had something in the system as well going, you know, and that was maybe the trigger. But fortunately, if I hear you correctly, you didn't it didn't last long. It wasn't like more than 48 hours or something like that. Or
here's the thing, I don't actually think I was like I had the flu or anything. I had a fever. I think I had a stomach thing because
really?
Alex started feeling sick as well, and I think we bought burritos the night before, the afternoon before. I think on Saturday night we had burritos for dinner. And something tells me that those burritos were not, like they went off or something, because I started feeling sick after we ate that. You know, I wasn't feeling sick while I was cycling or anything like that. And then my brother mentioned he also got a bit sick, so it could be something going wrong, like a stomach bug going wrong or something.
Yeah, so, sure. Yeah.
That's essentially what I believe it was. But do I feel fine? I feel fine now. Did I feel fine, you know, on Sunday? No, I was bedridden. But I still got out on my bike on Sunday, though. I went cycling into town to pick up the boys.
What? Okay.
Yeah, like, because Alex went to the hairdresser. She went in town to pick up some boots for Zavi. And while they were in town, she had a hairdresser appointment, and they hadn't got back in time. So she calls me and she's like, hey, can you come pick up the boys in town? Like, I need to get to this hairdresser appointment, and I'm not going to be able to come back with them. So is it possible you can pick them up and just like, you know, while I'm here at the hairdresser, so that they don't have to wait on me?
Yeah, right.
And I said, yeah. I said, you know what? Might as well. I don't mind. I can come pick them up. This is despite the fact that I'm not feeling well, but I got up, got on the bike. And while I was moving on the bike, I felt fine. It was only after I stopped moving and I started walking, because I had to walk back with them, obviously. I couldn't cycle back because of the fact that I'm on a bike, right? I can't fit 3 lads on a bike with me. So, well, 2 lads along with me on a bike. So for that reason, I ended up having to walk back with them, but I felt like crap the whole time.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Yeah. So that's basically been my week. Yes, it's nothing too special, nothing too out of the ordinary, that kind of stuff. What about you? What have you been up to?
Yeah, I'm almost about to say the same. Nothing really extraordinary. Well? No, I haven't been ill, and I haven't eaten a burrito and got ill in my stomach. So I haven't been copy-pasting that part. But mainly just a normal working week. Last week, we didn't rehearse with the band either, because the guitarist went with his girlfriend to Scotland, actually, to Edinburgh for like a Thursday to Sunday weekend thing. So we're gonna catch up on tomorrow evening, which is Thursday then. But besides that, I have been continuing to be quite how do you say, productive with my stuff, and quite effective, if I may say so. So expanding where I need to expand, as I explained also last week, a bit when it comes to the music and everything. And I've been pretty active when it comes to my YouTubing, and I've felt that I am in, how do you say, have a good like timing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know when you are like in the zone, kind of
It's like, yeah, like you
creative.
have a good rhythm going. Like everything's
Yeah, a
just.
good rhythm, and
Hmm.
you're not behind things. And
Yeah.
that's like the bottom line.
Hmm.
It can, that can change pretty fast sometimes, but
Hmm.
it's a good feeling.
Hmm.
So we've had that, and as I explained for you, I think it was also good to have the see the sun. We had good weather for like I think it was 3-4 days in a row. When I say good weather, I mean that it was like clear skies and maybe 3-4 minus degrees, and the sun was shining.
Hmm.
Had good walks also after lunch, and went on with work stuff. But today, no, actually yesterday, we got plus degrees. So the little snow that we had on the ground, which was nice to have, has more or less melted away, unfortunately. It will change again. This is typical, going a bit back and forth, but I wished it would have stayed, longer, because
Hmm.
it looks better. The air is better, I believe. So
Hmm.
but yeah, besides that, no, it's not really anything like, how should I put it, out of the normal that has occurred or happened, which sometimes is a good thing. I mean, we've talked about that before.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's actually nice to have like a week without any weird stuff happening, or something that you just have to, you have to put away everything you're doing because you have to fix just that.
Hmm.
Nothing like that. So we'll see. We'll see what this week has to give. You know, for looking forward to that. So we're all good here. We're healthy, and I would say, I would say pretty much. And I know Agent Adam, my oldest son, he checked out another apartment. I mean, he has his, wish for to soon buy his own apartment.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, it was a really nice apartment. Uh, yeah, he sent some pics and everything. So we'll
What
see.
about the
I
place
mean,
that you got that he was looking at that was nearby though?
yeah. I mean, he didn't get into that like how should I put it, like active or seriously. He
Hmm.
mainly wanted to see how they look, those apartments that are close by here in the area where he apparently has been born and
Hmm.
raised, close to us. And also to get a picture how much they cost and stuff like that. So he was in contact with the what's the English name for the people, that are responsible for to sell
Oh, the broker, is it?
the broker. Thank you. I just lost the word. And everything. So he has a contact there as well. And she said that, I will let you know if there will be similar like stuff coming up in the nearby area. Uh, this was a bit closer to the city, but in a very nice part. And yeah, the apartment was really nice. Good picks. But we'll see. I mean, he's getting his know-how right now, and I think he might have been con- I'm not sure if he has contacted his bank and everything,
Hmm.
because I mean, as you know, he's in a quite good standing right now. So I think
Hmm.
he has a good chance to get a good loan if he needs to, when it
Hmm.
comes to buying. Uh, on the other hand, the market is a bit weird right now. So I'm not sure if he wants to. I mean, it depends on what he finds, I guess.
Hmm.
And where it ends. I mean, it's one thing to find something you want, another thing to actually get the loan, another
Hmm.
thing to get into and start bidding, and then
Hmm.
see, okay, how far can I go? I mean, you got to have that pretty much in forehand, so where's my limit,
Hmm.
because you're also going to live there, you're also going to pay for you have to be prepared for those kind of things. But even so, it's cool. It's nice to see that is active with that too. I mean, he and his friend, his longtime friend Gustav, they have been sharing this apartment now for quite a long time. And even though it's great, I mean, it's a really nice apartment. I have to say, it's pretty new, and it's owned by a woman that is working down in Brussels, actually, when it comes to EU. Uh, I mean, eventually she will come back at some point of time at least. So it's good to start to look around and see what's out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, there we go. That's I guess yeah, I would say that's my week. That's my week. Oh, one thing I want to mention, fun thing. Next week, I will meet up with uh, I will meet up with a girl that I haven't met since we were like in school. When we were like high school. I was 15. And we haven't seen each other since I was 15. That's my bottom line. And she just contacted me on Messenger via Facebook. She was like, "Hi, you know what? I just felt like contacting you because I am coming to Stockholm and I am on a due to work apparently. And I was just wanted to check if you want to meet and talk and yeah." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, definitely," because I don't have so much contact with, how should I put it, like older
like old friends.
Yeah, exactly, from my the time when I grew up in Skellefteå. The town is called Skellefteå, from up north. Since I moved quite early, from the city and everything, and where I started to study and then moved down to Stockholm. So that's going to be fun. It's going to be on Wednesday evening. Going to meet up and have dinner and just have a nice chat. I'm looking forward to that. It's gonna be nice to see after all these years.
I think it's nice. I think it's nice to meet up with old friends that you haven't seen in a while.
By her.
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, like for me, it's one of those things. Like I was talking to one of my actually no, I think I was talking to Zavi, and I was telling him like a lot of the kids that you hang out with now, most of them you're not even gonna see or speak to long after you've basically left the school. So
true.
But there may be one or two, the few that you may still keep around, and so it's good to know that you could every now and then that you can meet up with old folks and just reminisce on the good old days. Talk, remind each other of like what was it like to be a kid growing up and with the same kind of background and stuff like that. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Indeed. Yeah. So yeah, looking forward to that.
Hope it's going to be a lot of fun. Speaking about reminiscing and stuff like that, I've been playing a game that I used to play back in the day, which is NBA. I'm not a big NBA fan. I used to be when I was a kid. I used to watch the NBA when the Chicago Bulls were like the winning team when Michael Jordan was the guy.
Wow.
And I think the thing is, I watched the NBA because my dad watched the NBA. Right. So this wasn't like I was a really young kid and my dad would put it on and it would be on the telly and you'd watch the stuff. At that point in time in my life, I didn't actually know anything about the NBA. I didn't understand anything about the game of basketball. I didn't understand. All I knew is that Michael Jordan scored baskets. Like he would basically score a lot of points and he was like the best. That's what I knew. Right. And so over the years, I've played a few basketball games. I've played NBA 2K in the past on PC.
Okay.
I've played NBA, what's it called again? The NBA Playgrounds, which was originally, which is not NBA 2K Playgrounds, because 2K bought them out from the original company or whatever have you. But I haven't played a 2K NBA game proper in a decent time. Like I think I've played a little bit with like my brother and Zavi and stuff like that on like some of the older games that I still have an account for. But to say I proper played it, this is the first time in a while, and this is the newest NBA 2K. So this game is actually right now at the time of us doing this live. It's on sale until the 15th of February 2023 for 20 quid. Now, sports games usually start really expensive when they just launch, about say 70 quid or whatever is the starting price. And then they drop over time, right? 70 quid is the starting price for modern consoles. I think the PS4 and the Xbox One get like 60. But essentially you pay 70 quid and then the price starts slowly going down. And then by the time that game is no longer in circulation, that they have the new game out, if you go to like a used game store, you're probably gonna find it for as little as like like £2 or something. It's gonna be that cheap. Because as far as they're concerned, no one's buying it. Especially if it's at least 2 years old, that game is worth nothing. Because no one's coming to buy the old version of a game, of a sports game, any sports game. It's just not, it's irrelevant. And so I've ended up picking up a copy from Game, which is a gaming store here in the UK, for £20. And I've been playing it since. And I just ended up playing it since, but I've played it since like a couple hours ago. And the thing is that if I say anything weird in this episode, please note I am running on lack of sleep. But I am basically gonna just do my best job of not.
I think you're doing fine. I think
I think I am too. So the thing is that essentially I played a bit last night and I did like 48 minutes of gameplay, which is what we have for the podcast here. The weirdest thing though about this whole thing, bro, I'm playing this game and I'm realizing that this game is actually the length of an actual basketball game. Like this thing is an hour long. Like it's bloody long. Okay. Like by the time it does the thing, the game that did the first half, then it did the first quarter, the second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. I'm like, wait, we've only got to half the game? What the fuck? I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Like the game is as long as watching an actual basketball match or something.
Wow.
Bloody hell. I didn't even make it to the end of the match. Like I couldn't because I had to end the thing so I can watch The Last of Us. So that is essentially what happened. I played NBA 2K23. Is it a good game? I don't know yet because it's still downloading updates.
Exactly. Too early to tell. You at least have to be able to finish a full match, I guess.
It's not even a full match. The game downloaded some of the updates so I can start playing, but then it told me that I still have more updates to download. So,
yeah, there we go. All the updates. So there we are again. Oh, geez.
So I don't even know what the full game is like yet. I still have to wait for updates because there's no commentary. Yeah. Like I played it and there was no commentary, and I was like, is the commentary in the next update? Like
missing files. Yeah.
I was like, this game is so like modern gaming is shit, man. Like some bold ass nonsense. But anyway, that's beside the point. The point is I played NBA 2K and 2K23. I think right now at the price it's going for £20 or £23.99 on Amazon or on the PlayStation Store. I think it's with the price at that price point, given the fact that, especially if you haven't been playing NBA games for a while and you're just cutting back into them, I think it's with the price because there's so much content that would be in it compared to like if you played like 3-4 years ago, you'd probably find that there's way more content in it in comparison, because I was just going through a couple modes and I was just thinking to myself, holy shit, this is a lot of content. If I have to play this game, which I do intend to do, I am going to have to spend a lot of time focusing to try to understand all of this shit. Like there's so much stuff to understand in this.
Yeah.
So
I can imagine.
That is a thing. But anyway,
but I guess but also before we get to me all my stuff, but I'm curious to hear later on. I think maybe the listeners as well. So keep us updated later down the line when you've actually been able to play, when all the updates are there and you even have commentary. So let us know. I
will also. I do plan to do like I don't know if it's going to be long, but I do plan to do a series of a career mode in this game. On this YouTube channel. So for those who want to see that, you can subscribe to the channel, and hopefully I'll be able to put it up sometime soon, similar to what I do with eFootball. So eFootball, I do like a little career mode where I do my thing and stuff like that. But since they've taken out the main career mode, which is Master League, out of eFootball, I think I'll make Master League my new NBA 2K my new career mode game for now. And as you guys know, I love sports games, so it's gonna be interesting. So like learning the whole ins and outs of basketball, and because to be honest, I don't understand half of the shit in this in basketball. Like I keep following people, and I don't know how the frack I'm doing it or why. Like I'm just like, what the frack is going on? Why am I following people? And I'm still getting. I still have no understanding of when my players are being subbed in and out. I think the coach does it on his own. I'm like, what the frack is going on here? But I don't get it. But it's part of the game, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Most likely.
I'm still figuring out. But the one thing I am gonna do though, here's the cool thing. Apparently, you can. And this is one of the main reason why I actually bought it. It's on sale, but that's reason number two. Reason number one is because apparently you can download the EuroLeague in NBA 2K,
Ah,
which is the European Basketball League, which
yeah.
happens to have a Real Madrid team. And as you guys know, I'm a Real Madrid fan, so
Oh.
I'm just saying, when I found that out, I was like, well, your boy's gonna have to like make a career mode in this and try this out, leveler. So that's essentially it. Because I have no vested interest in any of the regular NBA teams. Like
Yeah, right.
like Xavi has a team he supports. I think my brother Lex has a team that he supports,
Yeah.
but I can't say that I have a team that I support in general.
Mm,
I
yeah.
don't think so. So yeah, that's the only thing I can say. I don't have a team I support when it comes to the NBA. So it will be interesting to support this EuroLeague and see how
Yeah.
they play, because yeah, I already support Real Madrid as a football team, so why not support their basketball team and see how good they are?
Exactly. Try it out. Try it out.
Yeah, definitely.
Um,
So
yeah.
with that being said, Raj,
Yes.
you've been playing a game that I think we've spoken about before
Oh yes. Oh yes, we have in the past.
in the
That was
past.
some maybe even some years ago, to be honest. I have been going back playing a free-to-play shooter that is called Splitgate. This is
Mm-hmm.
a fast-paced multiplayer, almost like arena shooter, quite heavily inspired by Halo, you can
Mm-hmm.
say. But it has its own stuff or twist, you might say, when it comes to mechanics, because it has like Portal mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
If you think Portal, maybe you played Portal, I don't know, or Portal 2. But it's a kind of an interesting thing that can be used in like a tactical way. There are certain spots or places on the map where you can open portals. So it means that if you, let's say you're playing like a classic Halo mode, like King of the Hill, where you need to spend time on the hill to get points for your team, but you will be attacked all the time, of course. Then you can maybe open a portal behind the enemy team, and flank like that. And, you
Mm-hmm.
can also shoot through the portals, and you have nades that can close the portals. So that's also important to do when you see that they show up close to you, like from the enemy team. This is a good free to play shooter, still also in 2023. I made a video on my channel. If you want to check it out,
Mm-hmm.
it's doing pretty okay right now. And it's kind of interesting to see the journey that this game, or I would say also for the developers, what has happened through the years. You see, it was first released in 2019, and I was early bird there. I made a video. I remember the developers wrote a comment, and I just said, yeah, good luck with the future development, and you've done something good here and stuff like that. But as it is being a small developer studio, I think they were like only 10. Maybe there still are. I'm not 100% sure, but not many people,
Mm-hmm.
trying to get their game out there. It was only on PC at that point of time. It was doing okay, but I understood that, of course, that they had like higher ambitions and hoped for something more. So in 2021, they did an overhaul of the game and they made it crossplay, which of course was a great decision
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to also Xbox One and PlayStation 4. What they also did is, and this I didn't know when I didn't find that information when I was doing my little research for the video,
Mm-hmm.
because the game went viral at some point in like August, September 2022,
Mm-hmm.
or 2021. Sorry, my bad. And it went from like, yeah, close to 1K players on average a day up to 200,000 players. And of course, that sounds amazing, and it is. But on the other hand, they weren't really prepared for this, which of course led to the fact that the servers like crashed. They had to take down the game for some time and try to meet the demands, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Which was a hard task for this small studio. Even they got some financial support from investors. And then in like later on, when the because what I didn't know and I forgot to say is that they apparently also paid. They put like the marketing money in to like spend on you know bigger YouTube channels and streamers to also market the game, which actually, of course, that helped a lot. And it's a very common thing nowadays to do that. I mean, I remember Adam's studio doing something similar when it comes to Biomutant, since PewDiePie played the game. But of course, you have to be ready or have the roadmap and everything ready for what to come if you if the game takes off. And in this case, it went viral. But then after some time, it didn't, and then it's hard because what to do, right now it's down to I think like 500 players about on average, which isn't bad. I mean, I've played other games, even newer ones, that are struggling to reach those kind of numbers, to be honest. But it's still a good game, that I want to say, and still worth playing if you like that kind of fast paced and fair FPS gaming. And when I say fair, I mean, as Halo, you have the same weapons. It's nothing fancy there. You have the same weapons, and there's power weapons on the map that you pick up, like a rocket launcher or a sniper, and you fight for it. That's it. So it's also a skill-driven game with ranked game mode if you want to play that, and also at least had an esports scene. And I'm not sure if it's out there still. But the developers took the decision to, I mean, there's still like updates and added content when it comes to like camos and stuff like that. But they are not like pushing the game since they are now putting their resources into the next upcoming game, which will be done in Unreal Engine 5. And it will be still in the universe of Splitgate. So I'm not sure if you could call it a sequel, but it's something that is still in the same kind of universe. So looking forward to see what that's going to be. But 1047 Games that are both the developers and publishers of the game has done a good job with the free-to-play shooter. I can see that clearly now also with a bit of retro perspective, since I have been playing a lot of other like not like similar, but other FPS games, free-to-play games, and other FPS games since then. And this game plays well. I have good FPS on my like medium build that I have right now when it comes to my PC, and it's a good game. I guess that's my bottom line, and it's free to play. So
it's free to play. It's also Steam Deck compatible as well, because you can install it from Steam, and it has let me see, it doesn't say anything about cards, so you don't have cards, but full control support, which is good. Let me see how many players are playing right now. Let's see what the number says at the moment. It says 400 something group chat. Stats are the stats, the actual active players.
Yeah, and of course it's I checked that yesterday, and I got
show you like the live stats for now.
Yeah, I saw like 500, I think.
500.
Yeah.
It was probably about similar about to that now, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is good. I think that's relatively good stats wise.
Yeah. Yeah. If you Google Splitgate player count, you will see that coming up.
About
like
500.
the last 4 months, I would say, from November up to now, it's been around 500, 550, something like that.
And the fact that it's got that whole portal mechanic thing, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. It is. Although they added also a game mode without the portal mechanics for those that don't bother or don't, because it takes some to get into that as well. Add it to the core gameplay and or to grasp it as a player, I would say, to understand how to use it properly. But
real gamers can figure it out in a second. Like we got
yeah.
You probably shoot yourself through a portal and not realize it in this game, to be honest. But yeah, it seems like fun. I should probably play it at some point, maybe. Who knows? That being said, this actually is the kind of game that I would play. Like that, I would love to have like a LAN party for. Like you have like maybe like you have your close friends and your family, and they're all connected on the same network, and you jump in a game together. Ugh, so much fun. The banter would be brilliant. And speaking of brilliant things, I actually watched something else other than The Last of Us this week. So we're gonna talk about The Last of Us, but I actually want to talk about something else really quickly before we jump into The Last of Us. And that something else is what do you call these things? A movie that I ended up watching. So it's not a television series. It's a movie, and it's one of those movies that I tend to watch that you don't tend to watch. Okay. So it's a romantic comedy.
I figured. I thought it.
So I ended up coming home. I can't remember what day I got home from somewhere. We went somewhere, and I came home, and we were having dinner, and I think it was Alex and I. We were having something quick to eat, and we sat on the sofa, and I wanted to watch something while I was eating, so I turned on this. I saw the trailer for this romantic comedy on my watch list or whatever have you, and I started watching it because I was like, this movie seems like fun, and Alex sat down to watch it with me as well, and she was like, oh, I've seen the movie before, and I was like, god damn it, let's skip to something else, and she's like, no, it's okay, let's keep going. She's like, I don't mind, I won't spoil it. She didn't actually see the movie. She saw like I guess like a trailer, the trailer, and she thought she saw the movie. So the movie is basically about these professional what do you call them? They're like, they work in publication basically. These so they're like the head of their departments and all that kind of stuff. And one is a guy. Basically their two companies merged, and he comes from a company, it's all corporate, and it's like suits and all that kind of stuff. And his boss is a real tool, like old school kind of like rude, misogynistic kind of adult old guy kind of vibe he gives off, and then the girl, she's from like, her boss is sort of like modern and sort of like tree hugging kind of like, old lady kind of stuff, which again, their bosses are on two different sides of the extremes on the spectrum. Basically, they're both not good for the company, essentially. And so these two who work directly under their bosses and pretty much run the company themselves, they do all the work basically. They've got a rivalry and all that kind of stuff, and somehow that rivalry turns into some sort of weird attraction, and it just gets better and better from there. I don't want to go any further. I don't want to spoil it. I just want to say the Hating Game is an amazing show. It's on Amazon Prime. I have not watched anything on Prime Video in ages. So the fact that I actually watched something recently on Prime Video and can fully recommend it says a lot. It stars Lucy Hale, who is adorable in this, and Austin Stowell, who is also really cool. Like, Austin plays he's a great bando of dreams in this. The lead of the like her boss, I should say his boss, is played by Corbin Burnson, and I can't remember who played her boss. I can't remember the lady. I think her name is Sakina Jaffrey. I think that's her name. So essentially, yeah, generally good, decent cast. I can't say I've really seen any of them except maybe Corbin. I think I've seen him in stuff, but I don't think I've seen any of the others in anything else. But that being said, it's nice when you get to watch a show and you don't really recognize anyone from it, and you're just like, this is just kind of good. It's just like new faces, interesting stuff, and I can highly recommend watching The Hating Game on Amazon Prime. So cool. That being said, that out of the way. I should give you the score. It's a 6.2 on IMDb. I give it a 10. Okay, so with that, let's jump into The Last of Us, episode 4. Raj.
Yeah.
You can take the floor. I'll have a backseat for the moment.
No. Well. It's episode 4. apparently, and it's interesting since the episode before was a bit different per se.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about that already. I think I said something about, or we talked about also that we thought, or I mean, soon they will be on their own again on the road,
Yeah.
and they will eventually get into the situation that you also do when playing the actual game, which is of course like raiders, other
Hmm.
humans, and that happened. The raiders showed up because they had to get off the road. They were still trying to make a way onto Joel's brother.
Hmm.
But as it is, when it has been an apocalypse, not everything is as you wish it would be, meaning that there's roads that are blocked and everything. So instead of going the short way, still on the highway, kind of, they had to, since the tunnel was blocked, they had to go like through the city. And I knew immediately that this something bad will happen, and it did apparently. And yeah, they were attacked, and they had to hold yeah, more or less crashed into this little store and had to return fire to the guys out there. And then Joel told Ellie to hide like through a small narrow space. She went into another room through a hole in the wall, and he said stay there and everything. And I also thought at that second, I think Anneli said too, okay, we just have to wait now until she will take out the gun from her backpack that Joel doesn't know about and use it, you know? And spoilers, that happened too.
Hmm.
Since Joel is a champ, I mean, he took down the guys out there, but there was one sneaking up behind him, and they got into close combat fight, so to speak. And
Hmm.
Joel got down on the floor and was not in a good situation. And then Ellie decided to, get out from
Step
her
in and
hiding
help.
spot, step in and help, and literally, yes, yeah, she shot the guy. And not killed him, but shot him. And of course, that was the thing. The face expression of Joel was a bit like, yeah, facial expression. But it's yeah, and he finished. He finished the guy. That we can say that. And then they have been on the run since then, trying to hide from because they sent out reinforcements, of course. And we got to know another character a bit. You might say the leader of that pack, which is
Hmm.
a woman that doesn't exist in the game.
Hmm.
But even so, here she is, and she was had an interrogation with a guy, a doctor, and they are looking for someone apparently. And when she got to know that these guys had been killed, like some of her guys, if that makes sense, got killed through the hands of Joel. They don't know that it's him or her. They have no clue. She sent out people to look for them, of course, but she went straight into the container where this guy, this doctor, was a prisoner and shot him. And it was also a reaction from Anneli. She said, like, when she was out there and they came with these guys, and one was heavily wounded, and of course, well, he would probably die, but he was still alive. She said, well, wouldn't it be a good thing to keep the doctor alive? I mean, he can actually take care of some of these things they will also, get into for the future. But no, she let the feelings steer her and went in and just shot him.
To be honest, that's the vibe I get from her a lot, is that she's very unhinged and focused on
Yes,
emotions. Because similarly,
true.
when they open the door to a room and you can see something bouncing underneath the ground, which I assume
Mhm.
is the undead, the clickers or whatever have you, the fungus
Mm.
spreading. I assume the guy says we'll deal with this other stuff after, right? And I'm just like, really? Like, that is some batshit crazy kind of super emotional nonsense kind of stuff.
Yes, yes.
Like that's the kind of stuff that gets people killed.
Yep,
And
and you can see that from her maybe first man, you could say, that it's apparently standing close to her when it comes to the small little militia that she has.
mhm.
He's like, well, I you could see that he doesn't find that a good idea. That's a good idea. since, as you said, you can see the floor are the floor in that building is literally moving or breathing up and down, and it's like a hive or something. It's not
It
good.
probably is. It
It's
probably
not
is.
good.
And he seems very. I think for the most part, he seems very logical, but he doesn't say much.
Yes.
He's just
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
like a sort of a man of action.
Yeah,
you
he's
know?
more a soldier, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
exactly.
Yeah.
And she's in charge, but she is unhinged and focused on emotion. Because as you said, killing the doctor was a dumb decision. Like, you kill a doctor in a time and a place like that where you need someone to sort of like take care of people with like if you get injured or killed or whatever have you. And she let her emotions get the better of her because she's like, well, she believes he's responsible for her brother being killed or tortured or whatever have you in the long run. And I think for the most part, you use your resources. I think if he's a doctor and you need him as unless of course you have another doctor, then fine, go ahead.
Yeah.
But if he's the only doctor, which it seems like that group only has one doctor, and that was him, I don't see why you killed the doctor. That makes no sense to me. No. I also don't. The situation with Ellie and Joel, I don't get how, like, at the end of the episode, big spoiler for the end of the episode, I don't get how someone snuck up on them if they went all the way to the top of the building. And my thing with Joel and Ellie, they're sleeping in the middle of a room after breaking a glass to get into that room, right? Now, this is a giant building. In my opinion, you go to a room where the only entrance into that room is one way. It's a one-way entrance. And another room that you can basically see into from the outside, because once they broke the glass, Joel could see what's going on outside from the inside. You could just see the door, at the broken door that they basically broke into the room in.
Yeah.
And to me, that just doesn't make any sense.
No, we should mention that it is a I think they went up all the way to the 36th floor or something.
Was it 36? I thought it was wasn't it 90 something?
26 or no, it was more than that. It was far up. It was far up, I think. But even so, as you say, no, it is a partly a mistake. This though, I do remember from the game. I'm pretty sure this guy shows up. The father and his son, and we'll see more about that in the next episode, of course. But what I also want to mention is that, of course, alongside with the travel on the road now, because this is a lot of the road trip with Joel and Ellie searching then, as mentioned, for Joel's brother and the trouble in Kansas City. But it's also nice to see again a bit of the humanization again with Joel, and as he's slowly starting to open up a bit more towards Ellie.
Yeah,
I mean, he does explain who his brother is and the problems with his brother, that he joined the Fireflies too, and then it's been a lot of stuff. And Joel, even though he's his younger brother, he seems to have this almost obligation to look after him, and as it can be in a family. And he also explains, well, Joel is family as Tess was, and he also put out the pretty harsh saying that Ellie, she's cargo.
Yeah,
that's I can see the expression for Ellie, because I mean she starts to, they are slowly starting to bond in a way.
Yeah,
and of course that will be even more now after the incident that happened, when also, I mean, Ellie saved Joel's life more or less. And it will be more of those kind of things later, but also the fact that, I mean, it's she found this little book with these horrible jokes and saying and everything. If I could find an example, that would have been fun. But so she kind of lightens up the face of Joel, even though he doesn't want to, but she's very consistent. So they're about to sleep during the night, they're sleeping on the ground, and she, oh, Joel, do you know if someone is la da da, what is that? And
she basically tells so the book is a dad joke book.
Yeah, right. That's
she
what
she tells this joke about diarrhea. So she says, Joel, diarrhea is genetic, and he's like, huh? And she's like, because it runs in your genes. And then he starts laughing and she starts laughing and I start laughing. So, you know.
Yeah.
It's
it's cool. I mean, this is also, it's important in many ways, because I would believe that if this would be like for real, and I can put myself, I think something that I hope never leaves us, even is in those kind of desperate situations, is of course,
a sense of humor.
caring for other people, hopefully to a certain extent, even though we're talking about survival, but also humor, like love and humor. It's I think that could actually help out quite some, even though you're running out of the resources when it comes to food or ammo in this case too, and stuff like that. You have to laugh about the situation sometimes. And
do you think you would survive if, let's say, for example, something like that was to break out and you didn't get infected immediately or something like that? Do you think, not just like if you could survive, but also would you want to survive in a world like that, or would you not? Like, what would you use you in such a situation? Would you have a game plan? Like what's the rundown?
That's a very good question. Me and Isaac have been making a little bit like jokes when it comes to that, since we know exactly what stores we would go to and get the gear. I think it's of course insanely hard to imagine. I think it also depends on who is my family still with me.
So essentially, let's just say today it happened, right? It happened today, like right now. We finished the podcast. Breakout happens within because I think what Joel said in episode 3 when he was talking to Ellie, I think he said to her something about it within 48 hours. It was like over the weekend it was done, so if it started and it's done by the weekend, and I'm thinking like within 48 hours, it's all over, right? Yeah. So let's say, for example, you're not infected within the first 48 hours from now. So 48 hours from now will be like what, Friday or something. So Friday morning, boom bang, everyone else is being like, a good portion of the population mostly are gone and all that kind of stuff. The world has gone to crap, and you're still alive, right? Your family's still alive. And when I say your family's still alive, you only know about the ones that you live with. So you don't know what's happened to Adam. All you know is that Isaac, you and Anli have survived, and you're I guess hidden in the house or something. What's the game plan from there?
Well, first off, I mean, I guess you have tried everything when it comes to the technical aspects of trying to learn more via internet. If it's still up and running, maybe some emergency channel when it comes to television. Then I would slowly start to find out what has been happening in the nearby neighborhood. What's up with neighbors? How is the condition here? And can I get out on the roads? Can I even use our car? If I can use my car, I would try to go and find stuff. I mean, not find. I would get stuff.
Would you go? So you'd go for resources first. You wouldn't go to try to get Adam first.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, family includes everyone. Includes everyone. That goes without saying. But if we're talking about the surviving part, because I would definitely want to survive. I think most of us. I mean, if we have a strong, I think that's in our genes in a way. I would definitely try to find the best ways. If it also means that you have to be on the road and not being able to stay where you live, well, so be it. I mean, what it takes, especially to protect my family.
Where would you want to go though? Like, that's the other question as well. And by the way, hi Tara. Tara is watching the podcast right now. He's in the chat. So here's the other question, right? The follow-up question, I guess, to this is, where would you actually want to go? Let's say, for example, you've managed to, your first plan, which is, figure out what resources you can gather and see if you can get on the road and all that kind of stuff. Where actually would you want to go? Like, would you want to stay in Sweden? Would you want to go somewhere else? And if you wanted to stay in Sweden, where in Sweden would you want to go? That kind of stuff.
I would most likely stay in Sweden, also
Hmm.
because I guess it would be hard to travel anyway.
Right.
And I would, of course, also make sure I would try to get in contact with my mom
Hmm.
and see what I could do there. I mean, she lives like 800 kilometers from me, so
No
it's
phones are working. No internet.
yeah.
You don't have no phones. You have
Okay,
no
yeah,
internet. No power. What do you do?
yeah. Yeah, then it's harder. I would like to know how my mom is, of course. Try to do that. But I think when it comes to the close, like my family and everything,
Hmm.
I would try to get in contact with my parents-in-law as well, because I mean they live in the countryside. It's
Hmm.
very far from uh, a lot of people, if that makes sense. A small
Hmm.
village. You can count the houses literally. It's
Right.
it's it's not many. I think it would be a perfect place to actually both hide and survive, because they still have not like milk cows, but they have young like bulls and everything. You will have meat for decades. Like the chances to survive. I mean, also you have like corn and the seed that they're planting. It's a good place to both be able to spot if something is happening, and also, yeah, to protect and to survive. So that could be a destination. I would definitely think of that, I guess. Getting out from the bigger city and trying to get it to the countryside.
Who do you think would be the best asset in the family, like for survival?
Oh, that's a wow.
Who's the strongest link and who's the weakest link?
I, that's insanely hard to know, because it's like when people are talking about like or officers are talking about soldiers. They say it's so hard to know what how they will behave, like in a
It's
really
perfectly obvious with
real
regards to that.
situation.
I'm saying, like, from based on your knowledge of your family members, and you had to guess in this moment,
Okay.
who do you
Uh,
think would be the strongest link and who'd be the weakest link?
well, when it comes to physical, like
Not in physical,
strength
just
and
in general
endurance,
for
yeah,
survival
yeah.
in a thing like this. Just survival, because survival doesn't mean physical. Survival means you could you could survive this. Who do you think is the strongest link, and who do you think is the weakest link?
Oh, that's super hard to say.
I can give you my example. For me, I think Ty would be the
Yeah,
weakest link because he's a toddler. He'll
yeah,
cry
he's
and
a
he'll
toddler.
attract
That's
attention. So I think it's easy to say Ty would be the weakest link in our
Yeah, of
family.
course. Because my point, for me it's hard, because I mean both Adam and Isaac are like young adults.
Hmm.
I mean Adam is become 26,
Hmm.
and Isaac is about to become 23.
Hmm.
They're you know th- yeah.
Yeah,
I
man.
can understand that you say Ty. I totally understand. It makes sense. It's logic.
Yes, it's actually an easy answer because because I've got a toddler, so it's easy.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. Oh man. Oh God. Yeah. I hope we never get in. It's an interesting thought and conversation,
Yeah.
but of course, man, I hope we never ever get into that kind of stuff.
Obviously not, but I think for me, I like to like whenever I watch stuff like this,
Mm,
and I think like especially like when I'm watching with family, like we talk about stuff like that, like would you think you'd survive, or that kind of stuff, like would you be able to do this? And I think in general, for me personally, I would want to survive as well,
mm,
and I think for me, my game plan would be because I would basically consider everyone who I know as like my family and stuff like that, as in I would consider them to be, if you're not with me, I'll consider you to be forfeit as far as I'm concerned. Like I think it would be, especially because of the fact like my family lived that far away from me.
mm.
I think maybe I'd probably check for my brother because he's like we live in the same town, so it's easy to check for
Exactly.
him.
Yeah.
I think outside of him, I think the rest of the family who don't live in the same town and or live in a different country, it's going to be almost impossible to sort of like go to them and try to figure out if they're okay and stuff like that. Especially because you're considering the world is going to crap and there's
Mm,
people going crazy and all this sort of stuff. I wouldn't want to risk it, to risk like especially we're trying to survive. So I think for me, what I would do is I would try to quickly send out a message to my family before everything completely goes to crap.
yeah.
And the message would generally be along the lines of like, hey, this is where I'm planning to be within
Okay.
my game plan would probably be like, for example, like try to get myself up a yacht, like a super yacht. So I would basically try to get to the coast as soon as possible. Get a vehicle and get to the coast. And I would try to get a super yacht, not a small dinghy or boat. I want a yacht because those things they're massive. They're usually well stocked. They have they have basically everything you would need, right? To survive for the most part. And then what I would do is I would get supplies similar to you, and I will sail off to a tropical island. And the reason I would do that is, and when I say tropical island, I want a really small one, not a big one. The smallest tropical island I could find in a decent part of the world. And from there, I think I'd have a high survival chance, because the reason being, one, I don't have to worry about the weather changes for summer, winter, spring, because of the fact that that's deadly. If I can't get to be able to warm myself and stuff like that, I could freeze from frostbite. I could get all these sort of illnesses and all that kind of stuff, because usually when it gets colder, that's when you start getting more sick, flus and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And I wouldn't want to risk that. And number two, a lot of stuff grew in the tropics. So if you needed to farm and stuff like that, you could farm year round and know that you'd have produce year round. Where in the winter, some stuff grow and some stuff don't grow. So you basically screwed depending on how you look at it. So I'd probably try to get to the tropics by boat.
Yeah.
And the other reason why I would pick a small island and try to get there by boat, I think for me, the way I'm looking at it, if this fungus is spreading and I get to a small island that's hopefully uninhabited or whatever have you, then there's no one to turn into a fungus, and hopefully the fungus hasn't spread to that island or something. So
the only problem is, of course, that being like isolated like that has its risks too. Especially if other comes around, you're very vulnerable since you don't have like spaces to go to or fall back to. And of course, also if you run out of like gasoline with a boat after some time,
I think the plan is a one-way trip with a boat, though. I don't think the plan is to leave the island after that. I think the plan is to basically get to the island and set up shop. So like I think if you get to a small island that's not connected to any other larger places and doesn't really have any like possibly a smaller population, so the odds and likelihood of the virus getting to there is lower. So when you get to the island, you inform the people on the island or whatever have you, hey, like, we can't let anyone else come here. Like, we have to be careful because there's this virus and it's killing everyone and blah, 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 and so forth. Maybe you have footage to show them or whatever, what's going on in the world, on your phone or whatever have you.
Sure.
And then you basically have this island where you're sort of isolated from the rest of the world. And I think the ocean is such a good natural barrier, especially in times like that where the world has gone to crap, because you don't have to worry about a fungus swimming over the ocean. It's not going to do it. It's a fungus. It's not going to make it that over the ocean, essentially. In the show, they basically talk about how it spread from place to place because people travel from place to place all the time, and it was in the food, right? It was in the food and all that kind of stuff. So essentially, an isolated island that probably survives on its own natural produce and all that kind of stuff, it doesn't have to worry about it spreading the food there. You don't have to worry about it being in the bread or the flour or whatever have you. That island probably doesn't have that. They probably cook with corn or something that they grew. So that's my plan, essentially. I'd be able to survive on an island, live out the rest of my life with my family on there, nice and chill. I'll meet people on the island who have survived as well because they weren't on the mainland, and then for the rest of my family, they will have a general idea of where I'm going. So if they can make it there, then great, I see them again. If not, then like life goes on, essentially. I'll miss them, but I don't think I will. I don't think I would. Don't think I would really like go looking for them in that sense, because I think what I would be doing is I'd be putting myself at risk, my immediate family at risk, and then the chances of putting them at risk as well, my extended family, is also high, because let's just say, for example, they have the same plan as me going to them and them going to me.
Yeah,
that screws us up. We're both going in the opposite directions, and we miss each other on the way.
Yeah.
And then what happens? We put ourselves in danger. It's better to say, hey, send a quick message. Hey, like, this is our safe place. This is where I'm planning to go. If you need to find me, or you think I survived, this is the most likely place I would go if I survived. And then me thinking that they have the same mindset, we all go there, boom, bam, I run into my family, we're all safe. We all managed to steal a super yacht, you know. And
yeah.
And you live, So I'm thinking that's the best survival plan. Now, those of you listening to the podcast, I would love, I guess not just me, but I'm sure you would as well, Rog. I think we would love to know your survival plan as to how do you think you would survive The Last of Us if it happened today. Like within the next 40 hours, basically it plays out just like in the show. What do you think happens? I am intrigued. So yeah.
It's interesting. It is. As said, I mean, me and Isaac especially has been fantasizing a bit, talking about it, and as said, we had we had the first hours pretty clear what we need to do, but from there, I don't know, but I think getting away again, even though it might, if it's an island, or if it's like I said, get away like countryside, trying to get from highly populated areas, is a good idea for many reasons. Also, you have to think that it might reach to point where maybe an existing military or something decides to actually bomb a city.
Exactly.
So you should be careful with that. So that's also a reason. And of course, you're talking about the actual spread of a virus, how that works, and in this case, a fungi. So it depends on. There's a lot to consider, but I guess you have to try to stay as calm as you can and try to work rationally and try to think in a logic way, try to find the best solutions, both the short term and the long term decisions for you and your family and friends, if you still have any. So it's and as you said, it's easy to make mistakes due to the lack of communication. I guess that's probably one of the hardest parts, besides of finding or surviving, just by the fundamentals of food and water. So yeah. Tough task.
Tough task indeed. I also think my survival odds get higher because I would not go get a car. I think that would be the worst thing to do, because everyone's gonna think get in their car and go, and then you're gonna end up in traffic, and then you can't go anywhere. My plan would be get on a bicycle, go to the bike shop, steal an electric bicycle from there, and pack a big backpack that can fit on top of my back on there, make sure the electric bicycle has a basket and stuff, and make sure the rest of my family have an electric bicycle. So that way we can cycle and still get that boost of energy when we need, it could work as a regular bicycle, essentially. And if we need extra power, maybe they get tired or something, or we need to rush through somewhere, it can go as a regular, a motorcycle kind of speed. So I think that's the other thing, because you can squeeze through traffic with a bike. You can't with a car. Once the car is stuck in traffic, it's stuck in traffic. You can't go nowhere. You got to get out, and then you're stuck. But if you're on a bike, you can easily squeeze in and out of traffic and just get to where you're going. So that would actually be my other plan as well, because as I say, my game plan is to get to the coast. So all I need is an electric bike, and I'm good to go. In the case of you have a motorcycle, you had a motorcycle. So
yeah, not any longer, no.
So I think the best plan would be to get another motorcycle. I'm sure you know where the motorcycle shop is. You'll probably be super happy about it.
Yeah.
Yes, great reason to get a new motorcycle. You go in there.
That's already in the plan, in the game plan.
Perfect. So. And then you get on a bike, and then it's just okay, great. And then you can just you can cut in and out of traffic and get to where you need to go. Oh man, you know what? I kind of, I shouldn't say these things. Like, there's a certain side of, I don't know if like everyone has it, but there's a certain side of me that kind of would like to test this, like test surviving. But then there's a side of me that likes living too much. So it's like,
I understand what you mean by saying that. Of course, you don't wish it like to happen for free, but like, I get it. I totally get it. Of course, yeah. As I said, we have been, talking about it, fantasizing a bit, like but it's mostly because you are so into. You've been playing games, you've been watching movies.
Exactly.
You have it's a bit of a almost a romantic kind of. Lone wolf kind of thing, thinking about, it's that kind of side of it. But it's not like the ones waking up because you've been sleeping on the ground and your back is totally broken and you hardly have been sleeping because you're always on your toes, because you're listening to sounds and it's gonna be quite horrible.
That's the other reason why I would want to go to a remote island far away, because I would not feel comfortable sleeping knowing that I'm in a place that's surrounded by this fungus and people could rob and steal me and steal stuff from me and all that kind of stuff. I'd never have a good night's sleep. I'd always be on edge and there would just be risk all around me. I think getting myself as far away from as much risk as possible is the best survival plan I could think, because then I could actually enjoy living again, but though at a less modern style, farming and taking care of stuff would be not as modern, but at the same time I'd be comfortable, I'd be fed, my family would be safe. I think the main thing I'd probably want to make sure I have supplies of, or whatever have you, is a lot of medical supplies and hopefully a doctor. If I can convince a doctor to come with me on the super yacht, like I could be like, look, fam, like I run into a doctor on the way, I'm like, look, I'm saving your life. Here's an electric bike. Let's go. Like, get on the super yacht. We need you. That would be great. But yeah, in general, I think it would be interesting. But again, we'd love to know what you guys have to say in the comments. So feel free to leave comments and let us know what your survival plan for The Last of Us will be. And we can maybe chat about it another time. Raj, anything else you want to say about The Last of Us episode 4?
No. I also see that we're passing the hour quite.
We've definitely got. We're 17 minutes past. So I think with that, there's a thing that we usually do right about now, Raj. What's that thing called?
Shout out for your podcast.
Shout out for your podcast. Have I been listening to podcasts this week? Yes, but not necessarily.
Oh, you have? Oh.
Yeah, but nothing new. So I think in general, I am just gonna shout out my most listened to podcast right now, which is ESPN FC. There's no description for it because we've already described this already. You guys have an idea. It's a football podcast, so that's what I've been listening to for the most part this week. And when I say listening, it's my go to bed podcast. Like I play it before I fall asleep, not to like listen for the most part. Anyway, like when I'm awake. So yeah, not a lot of new podcast listening. Hopefully you guys can suggest something that I will check out or something. With that being said, how about we say goodbye to listeners and get out of here before we go over the half an hour mark?
Exactly. True. Yeah, it's time to say goodbye, and hopefully you have been enjoying. As always, we try to give some parts or open up a bit here, talking about our lives and what we have been experiencing, but of course also maybe give some tips when it comes to some video games and the good series and movies that we like to watch. So with that said, my friends, have a beautiful week. Take care, stay healthy, and fingers crossed that we won't have an outbreak. Okay, muffin and out.
Beautiful as always. Look, we can't risk anything. We have to remember COVID happened, so like anything could happen. That being said, if it does happen, like I will survive somehow. I'll find a way, So with that, You can find Rog pretty much everywhere at 40 Splish Splash. That's number 40 with SPLISH, SPLASH. You can find him at Splish on YouTube. He streams at 40 Splish Splash on Twitch. Yeah, Twitch. On a Tuesday, Wednesday, and on a Sunday. Is that correct?
Correct.
So you are streaming today. Yes.
Yes, but actually today I'm making an exception. For the first time in years, I am actually going to stream on YouTube today. Ooh la la.
Ooh la la. Look at that.
If I get it to work, I've forgotten how to do it, but we'll see.
That is exactly the thing you gotta say, because I tried to do that as well. Like when I was like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna stream on YouTube. Like I was streaming on Twitch and I was like, guys, I'm gonna switch over to YouTube. If you want to catch me on the stream, I'm jumping over there now. And I went and I tried to load up YouTube and I was like, bloody fracking hell, like nothing works here. Like how do you do this? All my software is connected to Twitch. This makes no sense. So
I gotta look into it carefully before this evening.
Yeah, don't do like me and spur of the moment decide, as you're ending your stream, I'm gonna switch to YouTube.
Let's
do it now. So yeah, you can find me if you want to see me streaming on Twitch on a Monday and a Thursday. That is at LP Garden. That's LPGRDIN, Garden Total U. You can also find me at Simply Binge, or find us at Simply Binge, or at Simply Binge UK, pretty much everywhere else. And so as always, we wouldn't like you guys to miss out on any of the episodes of That Beautiful Life podcast. Many beautiful people like subscribe to this podcast on Castbox, Acast, Spotify, iTunes, simplybinge.com, Google Podcasts, and elsewhere. And with something like it that we're giving it for free. So as always, guys, this has been queued for your pleasure. It's a wrap.